Angered. Yes, Megha.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Mandy, for giving us those updates. Now, there are, in fact, protests that are taking place all across the globe in solidarity with the victims of Pahalgam attack. The Indian diaspora has been holding protests in New Jersey, in Washington, D.C., Germany, Finland, and Paris as well. Visuals on your screens of those large-scale protests that are taking place. In fact, there were charge scenes that were witnessed outside the Pakistani High Commission in London just a couple of days ago, where there were peaceful Indian protesters that had gathered to vehemently condemn the terror attack on the Pahalgam victims and the linkages of Pakistan and the ISI, their involvement in the Pahalgam attack. Aditya on the telecast with me. Aditya, which are these places across the world where there are large-scale protests that are taking place by Indians over the dastardly Pahalgam attack?
Well, absolutely. If you see, the barbaric terror attacks that have happened in Pahalgam by the Pakistani-based terrorists, due to that, globally, long protests by the Indian community is going on. Some of the cities where the protests are going on, Frankfurt and in California and other nations also, the protests are going on. Recently, what we saw that in Copenhagen and Melbourne also, the Indian community members were openly protesting against the sinister actions of Pakistan, and all the protests. More and more number of protests by the Indian community are expected to come up against the Pakistani establishment and the ISI, and this will definitely isolate Pakistan at a global level. And it is essentially at this hour because the economy of Pakistan is in shambles, and all the big countries of the world like United States of America, UK, and other countries have shown, and Israel has shown full solidarity and support for India. And because now even recently, last week, what we saw that there was a meeting held between the leaders from 30 big countries regarding the terror attacks in Pahalgam, and it is expected that now a bluff will be called upon the sinister actions of Pakistan. Yes.
Thanks for giving us those updates. The ANI Group's counter to Hindenburg's report against the